This video is sponsored by Raycon. Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to Eons of Battle. 2023 was a big ol' year for the Black Templar. I almost, not quite doubled, but maybe a thirded my army. I added a third more models to it, and I finally got it into a place that's super playable in 10th edition. But I brought it all out. It's around 14 or 15,000 points of Black Templar, but it's really hard to pin a number on this army because it exists across eras. I've been collecting this army for 10 years. It has some of my first models. It has definitely my most recent models. And a lot of models they don't exist anymore in the rules. They're broken and I never really got around to fixing them. It's kind of in a rough state. I have it here broken into 3 tiers. Top tier, the Primarisification of my Black Templar army. New, sexy, cool plastic models painted in the last 2 or 3 years, so they all look just fantastic. I got Primaris Crusader squads, I got Sword Brethren, an entire gaggle of characters, and of course, 20 of the brand new Terminators. 5 of them are painted from Leviathan, and then I bought 3 more boxes because I love them so much. They're Terminators, but they're bigger and cooler and chunkier, and I absolutely love them. Played a lot of these guys in Tabletop Simulator. Then moving on to the middle tier, this is old stuff, but totally playable. I take them in lists all the time. We got such fan favorites as my Centurion Devastator Warsuits, good old-fashioned Drop Pod, Land Raider, Assault Marines, which are fantastic right now, especially with the Primaris ones that just came out that are fine. They're cool, but I already have them. I already have them in little Marine size, so that's just, it's doing its job right now. I might try to Primarisify them a little bit, but we'll see. And there's actually some Primaris in this middle tier, my first ever Primaris Space Marines. But first, do you have ears? Well, then you're going to love today's sponsor. Raycon's everyday earbuds are what I use to listen to my music like Oingo Boingo, audiobooks of classic literature like the Aragon series, and everything else I love. Whether I'm getting down and dirty, building and painting minis, or I'm busy planning out what army to collect next. I can't tell you how often other earbuds have fallen out while I'm busy painting like a fiend, but with Raycon's optimized gel tips with a seamless in-ear fit, these comfortable headphones stay rock solid no matter how wild my painting sessions get. With Raycon's everyday earbuds, I can focus on perfecting my minis while letting the soothing sounds of Dragon Force play off in the background. They have the best audio quality available at a price I can actually afford on a hobbyist budget. Raycon also has tens of thousands of positive reviews, so you don't have to just take my word for it. And if that's not enough to convince you, then I'm here to say that for a limited time you can get up to 15% off when you use our link. Click the link in the description box or simply go to buyraycon.com/eonsofbattle to get 15% off your Raycon purchase, free shipping included. When Primaris came out in like 2016, 2017, I kind of fell into the anti-Games Workshop hype of Primaris bad, ew, yucky. But I saw the models and I'm like, yeah, the lore is bad. But the models are really, really cool and I want them. So I bought them and I put them actually on their own bases. They're kind of on like a mountainous base with some foliage. And I kind of wish I didn't do that. I wish I just based them like the rest of my army because now I just want to go back and rebase them and make them proper Black Templar intercessors. And also in this middle tier, I have my old 20 Terminators, which, boy oh boy, do they look scrawny compared to the new ones. But I worked really hard on these guys. They're painted pretty darn good for like a 7-year-old paint job. So I'm just gonna consider that I have 40 Terminators in my collection. And some of them just happen to be a little smaller. Not all Space Marines are the same size, don't judge. They're still cool. This middle tier is awesome, and it's where I would like all of my models to be, but unfortunately, there's the bottom tier, the old guard, some of my oldest models in my collection. There's a fair bit of half-finished, broken stuff, things that don't exist anymore. Weirdly, my Doritos Locos Dreadnought, it was the last model I painted for Warhammer 40k 9th edition, and it kind of got dropped in 10th edition. It still has Legends of the Imperium index rules, so it is still playable, but it feels wrong. Although, it's on an 80mm base. And So is the Ballistus Dreadnought. The Ballistus Dreadnought might be on a slightly bigger base. Ooh, but they're about the right size. You know what? I have 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts. In real time, he is moving up 2 tiers. Okay, so he's good, but the rest of this stuff is not. And there's a reason that I have right around 130 old squatty Space Marines. That's because in high school, I didn't have much money, but I loved Warhammer and I always liked to be building and tinkering. And so the best way to stretch my hobby dollars was I would just buy box after box after box of Intercessor Space, or of Tactical Marines and Devastator Marines. And then every now and then I'd end up with extra backpacks, extra legs. And so I would just build more and more and more squatty Marines. And so now I have far too many. And this isn't even all of them. A bunch of them I kit bashed and converted into Assault Marines. And so they made it up to tier 2. But yeah, I have a lot of old Space Marines that I don't really have a plan for. They're way smaller than a Primaris Space Marine, and they're still usable in game. There is a unit called Tactical Marines, and they are fine. Not good, but fine. So there's something over here. And my old vehicles, the Talon Fighter, which I don't like. I tried to Black Templars it. It's apparently broken right now because it shouldn't be wiggling like this. I took it in one game. I don't like flyers. I've got my old Rhinos. I never bought the Rhino kit. There used to be a bit seller, and I found out that if I purchased just the chassis and the treads, I could get a Rhino for like $14. So I got a ton of Rhinos that were completely empty, devoid of all weapon options. And so over the course of 10 years, I've slowly been gathering up the weapon options, but I don't want to take Rhinos anymore. I got Impulsors, and the they're so cool looking. They have bigger, better, badder guns. They're just kind of better. I was thinking about converting these guys. There's something to the Razorback, which is the Raider, the Rhino with a gun on the back. There's something to this unit still in Warhammer 40k 10th edition, but I think I might sacrifice these Rhinos to the Chaos Gods because I have a Death Guard army I'm working on, and the Rhino, still a good transport for the Death Guard. So I might like get some Hobby Lobby like dinosaur skeletons and just kit bash and Nurglify these. And then it would be some of my oldest models back on the tabletop in glorious HD, meaning modern paint jobs with contrast paint. But yeah, my old stuff. I actually do have a plan for the old stuff, and as I need them in game, as I write lists and tinker and tailor, I'm gonna grab my old models and break them and kit bash them into modern models. This is an old Space Marine, but Tortuga Bay Miniatures makes some really cool conversion bodies with some Space Marine-esque bodies that are Primaris sized. And so as I want Devastators or a guy holding a plasma gun or a Melta-Cannon, I'm just gonna grab these old bodies, rip them up, and then kit bash and convert them with these bodies into proper Primaris scale Marines. So hopefully I can actually use a lot of this stuff that I'm not particularly happy with the paint job, not particularly happy with the build construction, and I can turn them into a proper modern 40k model. Right now I have like one Crusader squad done, and I'll probably always have some old school Crusader squad guys floating around because number one, they're actually not bad in game, pretty darn cheap for the old Las Plaz Power Fist combo. Technically not a thing in 10th edition anymore because it's out of the index, but I don't begrudge anybody using index rules to get their old models on the tabletop. I feel like that's what they're there for. Like they would just be completely deleted if no one was ever meant to play with those things. And I don't go to tournaments and I don't go to Warhammer World. So it's my rules. It's my house. But yeah, that's my plan for getting these guys up and running in modern 10th edition. And then there's just other stuff. My land speeders. I never was a big fan of the land speeder. I don't like the new land speeder, but I just don't like any land speeders. But I kit bashed and converted them to make them look kind of cool. So I'll probably run these as the modern like shoebox shaped land speeders. But yeah, it's quite a collection of minis. And if I just kind of don't look at this hemisphere, it's a pretty solid badass army. But yeah, the reason I don't like to just say a points value for this army is because I don't really consider this real. I wouldn't, if I got friends over and I'm like, hey, do you want to see my Warhammer collection? And then they're like, no. I'm like, well, come and see it. I show them this stuff, the new, the shiny, the cool. I don't go grab an ancient model that I painted like senior year of high school. But there is some cool stuff there. I love my Black Templar more than almost anything. I have been having so much fun painting characters. I used to never paint characters because once again, I had almost no budget. And so one guy for like $35 doesn't make a lot of sense when for $5 more, I can have 10 tactical Marines and get a whole month of wargaming out of that box. But now that I've gotten pretty darn good at painting, I love just pouring hours upon hours upon hours of time into a character. And I have about 2,000 points of characters done, which is great because in a game of Warhammer, I might bring 210 points of characters, leaving everybody else just to look pretty on the shelf. But in terms of like work to get this army done, I'm actually kind of planning on taking a step back from the Black Templar. I was really thinking about it, and last year I spent probably half my time working on the Black Templar. And this year, I want to get so many things done. I mean, I have Tyranids, I have Drukhari, I have Death Guard. And last year I got a smattering of models done for those armies, but I added almost 5,000 points to my Black Templars. So I think I'm definitely gonna work on the Black Templar. I got all of these vehicles that I built up during Christmas. I gotta finish those Terminators, but I'm definitely gonna put the brakes on a little bit for my Black Templar army. It has been a mad dash to get it up and running because I was having so much fun with early 10th edition, but I was running kind of garbage like 5th edition units and getting absolutely curb stomped. So getting the opportunity to work on some of the newer things, it's also just kind of worked out fantastic for me as a Space Marine player because I got to collect a Space Marine army. I got to learn what I was doing, how to do it, my painting recipe, and then they came out with new, beautiful, sexy models that I can really sink my teeth into now that I have experience under my belt. I adore the Black Templar. Gotta give it up to Centurion Devastator Warsuits. They are my favorite unit for the Space Marines. I'm also just a little bit of a hipster and everyone hates these guys, but I absolutely love them. They're Space Marines in Iron Man suits inside of a bigger Iron Man suit. It's just phenomenal. The old Land Raider is glorious. I would say the old Land Raider a little bit cooler than the new Repulsor. Although I do like the variants of the Repulsor. The Repulsor with the gigantic cannon on the front, pretty darn spicy little units. It's really fun to see all of these units that I have a lot of experience with kind of reimagined into just bigger and better. The Black Templar. I love them so. It's just a mess. This army is just a mess of... you can tell the difference between a model that I painted in like 2015 and a model I painted yesterday. It's kind of night and day, but they're still in the same army. They're still here on the table, and they will continue to be crusading for years and years to come. Probably not this guy. This guy's done. He was done in like 2017 after I took him in one game, and he barely got his points back. And his base is a orange pole, like the pole that they stab into the ground in parking lots so that snow plows don't run into them. I stole one and I used it for his base. So that's why he has a giant rod sticking him to the base. I don't know if this looks better than like the old kind of weird plus sign flying stand, but this is what I came up with at the time. And there's other little things I would like to do as well. Like one of the oldest Space Marine vehicles is these bikes. And I like these bikes. They're cool. They're kind of Space Marine choppers. And so I was thinking about kit bashing these guys into Primaris Outriders. I have 6 Primaris Outriders and I have 6 old school bikes. I could have 12 Space Marine on bikes if I just got some much bigger bases and maybe came up with some sort of a way to bulk up these old dudes. And as much as I sort of like the Primaris ATV, I really like the sidecar, the silly little sidecar Space Marine vehicle. It's just adorable. It's super cute. I don't even know if it looks good. It probably looks as good as the Primaris ATV. But yeah, definitely want to bring these old guys into the new Primaris army. There's other things that I don't know. Like the old scouts, I have them because I'm a Black Templar player, and Black Templar players bring a lot of scouts, but man, oh man, are the old scouts just the worst. They're so little, they're so bad. I don't know why, but they all have the same face. They're just horrible old models. And so they might ride off into the sunset. I don't even know if they're worth eBay. Like, they're just bad. I do love them though. And they have played many a game as neophytes in my Crusader squads. They've seen a lot of action over the years, and I think it's time to put them to bed. And the dreadnoughts. My collection of dreadnoughts. I have just about every dreadnought Games Workshop has ever made. The arms are missing right now. I don't know where the arms are, but I'll find them. But, you know, the Doritos Locos Dreadnought, he can totally become a Ballistas Dreadnought. I don't know if this little thing can proxy this gigantic Redemptor Dreadnought. I like the old Dreadnoughts. They're super cool. They don't look very good next to a Primaris Space Marine. The Primaris Space Marine is not even, he comes up to the shoulders, which is weird on a giant mech suit. So yeah, it's hard to run the Dreadnoughts. I have quite a collection. Maybe they should just be a collection. And they're definitely also showing their age a little bit with the paint jobs. Although, if I was to run a Dreadnought, I would probably run one of my Rogue Trader Dreadnoughts. Not only is this an old collection of minis, it is a museum of Space Marine minis. I have some of the oldest models Games Workshop has ever made in this collection. And, you know, I can see a little bit of design inspiration between the old lump of lead and the modern, beautiful Redemptor Dreadnought. There's, you know, if you blur your eyes a little bit, don't you see it? Don't you see these as the same exact guy? I don't know, maybe I'm reaching, but the Templars. I love them so very much. But I think one day I will have to do a purging because I don't ever want to put caveats. I don't ever want to hedge on this army. I want to be able to put it on the shelf and everything is absolutely glorious and perfect. And so I think that means converting and kit bashing some of my oldest stuff to bring it into the modern collection, finishing up some of the brand new toys I've bought myself. And then what do I do with what's left? The crumbs, the old Space Marines, the little bits and bobs, the old dreadnoughts. Do I put them on eBay? Do I burn them? I don't even know. Maybe I'll have to like make a retro army. Oh, but even that would be kind of lame because this isn't even a retro. This isn't like right here. This isn't even a 5th edition Space Marine army anymore. It's been too modified. It's been too damaged. It'd be hard to bring it back to like a classic Warhammer look. And I don't even like the old classic Warhammer look. I like the modern sexiness. I don't even know what to do. Please leave a comment below if you have any ideas of what to do with your oldest Space Marine. What have you done with your old Space Marines that you no longer bring out and put on the tabletop, but still are meaningful to you, that still have a little something? They bring a little spark of creativity to your eye. What do you do? Thousands of people have Space Marine armies and have decided to move on to Primaris. What do you do? What do you do with those old models? I don't know. But what I do know is we have a Patreon. Over there, we have a brand new set of terrain every single month. And this month we have the Ruined Temple, a modular set of components that can be built into the most magical and amazing set of ruins this side of the Mississippi. And if you always want to be up to date on the goings on here on Eons of Battle and be entered into our monthly giveaways, this month we're giving away Age of Sigmar Dominion, and we're picking 3 followers to receive this month's terrain. You can follow the link in the description below to sign up to our newsletter. My Black Templar, veterans of 1,000 games of Warhammer all across the years, across editions, gone up against all of my friends and their armies. But I think it's time. I have so much more Warhammer. I think I need to, instead of spending half my time on Black Templar, maybe bring it down to like 45% of my time spent on Black Templar. I think that is a reasonable change to make. Thanks for watching.